Hey, welcome to Think is Infinite podcast with Joe.
And John.
And we're back after a 2-week break, 2-week hiatus.
Yes, we are. And how have you been, Joe?
Been doing well. How about
Same
you?
here. The weather's finally getting warm, and here in New York, we finally got some really warm days the last few days. Now it's cooling off, of course. Yeah. But we're heading into the Memorial Day weekend, right, Joe?
Yeah. We are. We're heading right into Memorial Day.
And this is a day the weekend where, we honor the fallen veterans that lost their lives in battles. And it's something, Joe, you remember our tradition. It's not going to happen this year, but our tradition was we'd go to where? Remember we used to go every Memorial Day weekend?
We had a bunch of them. I can't remember.
Well, we used to go to the airport and watch the planes take off, right?
Yeah.
So what we used to do is we used to go to the airport and watch all the older planes that would fly to the air show. And one of the reasons why we used to go to the airport and watch the planes take off and land is, Joe, as if you've been listening to the podcast from the very beginning, Joe is an autistic teenager, and when he was really young, I was afraid to take him to an air show by myself because I didn't know how long he would be able to last with the noise and the crowds and stuff. But Joe's come such a long way right now that he can definitely handle an air show at this point of his life. But it started a little tradition where we'd sit at the airport, sit basically on lawn chairs outside of our car, right? Yeah. And we used to get bagels and watch the planes take off and land, and it was a really fun thing to do in the neighborhood near us.
Yeah, that too. And then the bagel place closed down. Whoops.
So we'd have to get bagels from another place. But this year we're not doing it. Joe's going away this weekend, and he's going to have a great weekend. But Joe, and to kind of spin off to what we were, we're being a little topical this week, and Joe wanted to have his subject. And Joe, why don't you go ahead?
Well, what I was thinking about, this was actually from a video that I watched about a little bit about the subject, and it was kind of about veterans, not really like the ones that died, but the ones that survived, and kind of all the problems that they have as well, like all the issues that they have. Well, first of all, I learned about a lot of different issues. There are a lot of veterans who have permanent lung damages due to the toxic air that they breathe, due to in battle, like gunpowder smoke, all the explosions that kind of causes kind of lung damages permanently.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I heard of that, and a lot of them have PTSD, obviously, from battle. I've heard that at least some of them did, and I heard that a lot of other the smoke and the chemical waste causes a lot of damages to other parts of their body. I couldn't quite remember, but I did remember that I read something about chemical waste and how it really damages other parts of their body as well.
Here's young kids, I call them kids, young 18 to early 20s. Right after high school, typically, they go and join the military to serve their country, and somewhere along the line, listen, battle is battle, and you pray to God that if you join the military, or you have a loved one that's in the military, that they never have to go to war and never have to fight a battle. And when they do, I could only imagine the PTSD that they have to experience. But the thing that bothers me, Joe, is the things you're just telling me right now. The things like the toxic waste and things like that should never happen. You got to, us as a government have to take care of our troops and make sure we're not putting them in more harm's way. They have enough harm's way to be shot and be hit and to be killed in a war, in a battle, and then you have to worry about chemicals or other issues that happen. That's what a shame.
Due to a lot of the weapons that they produce, and I've heard a lot of them have cancers and stuff, and cancerous tumors developing, and a bunch of different parts of their bodies. I've actually heard.
Wow. So what was the video that you watched? What did they talk about? How are they helping the veterans out? Did they say anything?
Well, actually, there were kind of two videos that inspired it. One of them was talking about how veterans are kind of underappreciated, and it didn't really discuss damage stuff. But the other video, they were talking about a society. I can't quite remember the charity, by now, but it was a it was actually a Mr. Beast video, and there were like 3 guys from the military, and they had to go and hunt down 100,000, and they donated it to like this charity that helps veterans by like researching ways that kind of like these permanent problems can be reduced.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that's really what I kind of heard. And I've also kind of been going a bit into this, and I feel like it's also kind of a case of underappreciation that kind of inspired me to this. So there's like a lot of people don't either appreciate the veterans, or some people even hate them. You know what I mean? For the massacres that like the U.S. government orders them to do, or like the war crimes, people like hate all troops and stuff. And
yeah, that's the sad part, because you know what? Here's people that put their life on the line to protect us, and and I know it's happened in the country's past, and you know what? Not every war. I don't agree with every war that we've been in, even in my lifetime. And I've been around, and I think even the most recent, war in Iraq. You look back and you say, wow, I'm not really sure it was worth it. But at the same time, my gosh, you got to honor the troops that did it. They were only following their orders and doing what they were told, and and shame on anyone to really hate on them for doing that, for serving their country, because they were just doing what they were told. They were doing what their country ordered them to do, and going in and looking back, and I think every war has a teachable moment. Do we really need to go to war? And right now the world is a little bit at war, right, Joe? And it's something that
Ukraine,
and and there's always dangers. There's always dangers every few years. There's something going on in the world, and I think it's very important that our nation, our country should choose wars very carefully. When you have to really think: is this worth our American blood and treasure? And that's and I really, but never single out the troops. They're just kids that join the military to do the best they can, maybe get a free education afterwards, right, Joe?
That's actually very true, because a lot of I was actually going to lead into that. A lot of the military will actually go into like poor schools and recruit kids whom they know are kind of vulnerable. You know what I mean? Because a lot of like the richer people, they don't really want to like go and like sacrifice themselves in battle, or at least they don't really need to. But like the poorer people, it might be their only opportunity to go into like colleges or universities, because the GI law and stuff, like that might be their only opportunity to go into college, because they can't afford college or they can't afford a good education, so they might join the military in the hopes that they can get there.
Do you think, Joe, that that's a good thing, the GI Bill, where you actually go to the military and get a free education, or do you think it's exploiting people that can't afford college? I mean, what's your thought about that? Because me personally, I'm a little conflicted. I think it's a wonderful thing to say. Because you know what, Joe, you grew up in a middle class home, and you know what? If you wanted to join the military and get a free education, if that's something you chose to do, I'd be like, you know what? Yes, if you want to do that. But if they go recruiting more heavily into other areas, I'm a little conflicted about that, because now you're trying to say, well, the only way you're going to go to college is you have to strap on a gun.
That's true, yeah.
But it is voluntary. We do have a voluntary military
conscription, except for like the one major exception is the Selective Service Act.
Of course.
So like if you get drafted into the army, but I do kind of like, I agree with the GI law and like what it was planned to do. But I think the U.S. government and their, like, recruiting method is kind of scummy. Like, what? Because they kind of, like, exploit it to their own advantage. Like, hey, we're offering you an opportunity, when in reality they just kind of want more, like, men to, like, die in, like, wars and stuff. They'll go, okay, we're going to, if you sign up to fight in battle, we'll give you an education. It's kind of like, it's kind of like luring people into it in a way, and that's kind of like, because it might be the only opportunity they have. That's the problem.
Interesting thing. But that's an interesting thing, Joe, that you're saying that. It's because there's two ways of looking at it. It could be luring or it could be helping. Because you know what, if you grew up in a house that really couldn't afford to be able to go to college, and you would have to either join a trade or not sure what they're going to do. Now, I do know there's a lot of college programs out there that if you are in a lower income, you do get a lot of help for certain colleges, but it's still very expensive for colleges, as you know. It's an interesting conversation, Joe. That is it luring? Is it taking advantage, or is it helping? I guess it really depends on what's happening in the micro, in that specific situation. Are military recruiters taking advantage, or are they just showing what the military can do for them?
That's true, yeah.
And so I guess it can go both ways depending on what's being done in the small scale.
That's true, yeah. And as well as that, I feel like it also kind of like depends. Like, if it's kind of weird, because it's like, I feel like it shouldn't be your only chance, shouldn't be to, like, go in battle. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there should be more opportunities to go into college. The price of college is so high nowadays. It's crazy. It's like, now it's like up to like $80,000, $100,000. It kind of keeps poor people poor and rich people rich in a way, because
that goes to another story, Joe. I mean, that's on the colleges, in my opinion.
That's true.
You know, and I know we're kind of spinning a little bit away from the veterans, but it is. I think colleges are gouging. I think they're taking advantage of a situation. And what's someone going to do with, let's say, a sociology degree? It's not as easy to get a job with a degree that's not going to make you money. So, in my opinion, it really should be based on what this is just a shot. I'm just actually spitting it out. Someone may find a million flaws in it, but I think some college educations, Joe, should be based on how much income you can get on the back end. Meaning, if you're going to medical school, all right, it may cost what it costs right now. Or if you want to go to law school, it's going to cost what it costs right now. But if you're going to be a teacher, why should it cost so much money? Because a teacher's salary, although good, is not astronomical. It's a good salary. Or let's just say you're going for a computer program, you want a computer education, or So I really think it should be based on the type of job you're going to get on the back end. Just my thought.
That could be true. Yeah,
and so it should be scaled. So if I want to go for a very, very high education, let's say I want to become a professor, or a physicist or something, it should be more. But on the back end, if I wanted to become a social worker or something like that, that's a middle class job. It's not a high end job, so it shouldn't cost so much money to do that. So that's where I would stand on that issue. But getting back to those vets, listen, I love the vets. Anytime I see someone that served, they did more than I did when it comes to honoring their country. I didn't go into the military, and not every veteran, not every person that goes into the military goes into battle, thank goodness.
That's true.
So,
some of them are in reserve, a lot of them are.
Most of them do. Most of them don't see battle, but a lot of them do. And I think
true.
And I think the big thing about being a veteran is thanking them, is especially if they've gone into battle, to understand and help them. And I know there's a lot of organizations out there that do that, and I think it's a really good time to give a few moments and say thank you to them, right, Joe?
I think it is as well, and it's such an important thing to do. It's just, even giving grace to the ones that fall, the ones that have died in battle, and obviously that contributes to veterans' problems as well, seeing their colleagues die, their friends die,
I couldn't imagine.
Their friend dies in the military. Anyway, that concludes this segment, and on to the next one. Hey, welcome to the next segment, and we're going to be doing a little Would You Rather, just to kind of
lighten up the mood, right?
That other segment, yeah.
So, Would You Rather game. So, if you've listened to us before, and right now you hear a helicopter flying overhead, because we are recording outside, because it's such a beautiful day, Joe. We have to record outside. It can't be inside a house. It's a gorgeous day. We're approaching the Memorial Day weekend, which, we talked about in the previous segment about the veterans and stuff, but it's also a weekend just to, enjoy what is soon to be a summer, right, Joe? So it has that, you have that, you honor the fallen, but you also enjoy the fact that life is getting better and the weather is getting better, right, Joe?
That's true.
So we're going to do a Would You Rather game. And Would You Rather game we've done in the past. We've done every so often, right? Not every episode, but we pick it in there. We put it in there every once in a while. So I give Joe a question, and I try to guess which one he would rather do. So here we go. You ready, Joe?
Okay, let's do it.
All right. Now, Joseph. Joe's a young kid. He's only, 16, right, Joe? 16-year-old.
Okay.
Would you rather lose all your teeth or all your hair? Now, here's the deal. Let's go think. Now, Joe, I'm going to try to guess what Joe's going to be thinking about this one. Now, Joe, all your hair is all gone. Now you're bald, okay? Completely bald, nothing going on top of your head.
Okay.
Or 0 teeth. Ding, dong, ding, dong. Tell me when you're ready. Tell me when you've come up with your...
I think I have my decision.
All right, I'm going to guess you would rather lose your hair.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. How could you eat? How could you chew on anything?
Unless you have like a feeding
fake teeth
tube,
and
but,
stuff.
you
or
fake,
have
like a feeding.
Yeah, well, fake teeth, I guess. But I don't know if that'd be really fun to have no teeth. So I think I'd be much better to. So I'm all right. I got one right. Maybe I gave Joe an easy one for me to get. But you know what? I got to win one of these. I haven't been winning many of these, so we're gonna do 3, right?
Yep.
All right. Second one. Would you rather be forced to live in the same day over and over again for a full year, or take 3 years off the end of your life? So, let's say you're going to live to like 90 normally. You're going to only live to 87. Okay, that's option 1. Or you have to, 1 full year is the exact same day over and over and over and over and over and over and over. I'm going to say 365 times over and over again.
Also, I think I have my decision.
All right. I think Joe would rather live the same day over and over and over again. No!
You're wrong.
Oh, man. All right, so tell me why. Tell me why, Joe.
Well, first of all, the end of your life is kind of like, it's not really great anyways. Like, your bones are already hurting, you're already in pain at that point. And also, I feel like at that point, like, taking 3 years off the end of your life isn't really going to change too much in the grand scheme of things. Like, it's not as bad as, like, you have to live, like, the same day over and over and over. Like, I'm not doing that. Nope.
All right. You know what, Joe? I respect that. Some people think that way. You know what? I understand that point. What if the last 3 years are very difficult? I guess it depends on how those last difficult years. Now, me personally, I'm, Joe's young. I'm a little older. I think I'd rather have those 3 years. I'll take 1 year of just living it over and over again. because you know what? I'm halfway done. If I'm halfway done, I'm already approaching the back 9 of my life.
That's kind of
Not
true.
the beginning of my life, like Joseph is. So Joseph would say, I'd rather take those last 3 that's going to be painful and take them off my plate. I'm saying I'll take the 3 years of pain. All right, now this is it. This is going to decide whether I win this game or lose this game. And it's all on Joe's decision and my ability to guess his decision. Right, Joe?
Yep.
All right, here's one. Not morbid at all. Would you rather give up the internet or showering for a month? Okay, so here's the thought. Okay, let's break it down. Okay, no internet at all. All right, so now you just got to read books, watch TV, go to school, play board games. No internet.
Okay.
So if you give up that internet, that's one option. Or you give up showering for a whole month. Woo! Tell me when you're locked in.
I'm locked in.
All right. This is it, man. I got to get this one right, Joe, because I'm always getting these wrong. I'm going to say you would rather give up... You would rather not give up showering. So that means you'd rather give up the internet.
I don't know if you're right.
What?
Yeah.
I am right.
Yeah.
All right, I won one. Yeah, you can't be smelling for a whole month. I mean, unless you're in the house on the internet all day long for a full month, but then you're still smelling yourself. So that can't be good. Good job, Joe. Joe, and we've talked about hygiene on previous episodes. I'm glad you're learning. I'm glad you're learning that it's not good to go a whole month without showering and taking care of yourself. So, right, what would you do? What would Joe do with that whole month without the internet? Talk to me before we sign off on this segment.
I'd probably watch TV first of all.
And Stranger Things is coming out, right, Joe?
Yeah, that's true.
So Joe's favorite show, right? Isn't it your favorite show, Stranger Things?
Yeah, it's coming out.
It's coming out when? Right, this weekend or something?
Weekend, yeah.
So what do you think? What are you thinking of it?
I'm thinking it's actually pretty long.
What'd you learn about it?
Each episode is going to be around actually around an hour and a half. The finale, which is coming out on July 1st. The last 2 episodes are an hour and a half and 2 hours and a half respectively.
Wow.
So 2 hours and a half for one of them. One of them is really long.
Now, for anyone who doesn't know Stranger Things, most people have known about it because it is a very popular show on Netflix. Now, Stranger Things is a show about it started in the early 80s.
Yeah.
Now, I love the show so much because those kids were my age. Now that I'm dating myself, I'm letting everyone in the audience know how old I am, but I was those kids' age at the exact time when they made that. So they were supposed to be around 10 years old in the early in 1983. I think it's supposed to be, or 84. And that was me. I was that age. I was doing the things that they were doing. I had the same technology, which was almost nothing. At the time, the walkie-talkies,
and the phones.
There was the phone on the cord.
But it also makes the show right because A, it adds the scenery, and B, it makes the mystery more unsolvable. Because if you had current technology, you would be able to solve it right away.
Exactly.
But you can't connect with anyone back then. You only could use walkies that have a 2-mile range. It makes it harder to solve for the characters and for the audience. Kind of throws them into a loop, that kind of stuff.
And for anyone who hasn't seen it, it is a combination, in my opinion. It's a combination of it's as if you
a lot of 80s movies.
If you mashed up a Stephen King movie with E.T. and Goonies, because it's got the kids and it's got a little bit of scary and a little upside down world.
True, yeah.
And it is just a really great series. And I watched the first season. I loved that first season, and I binge watched it. It was one of the first shows I've ever binge watched. I had a shoulder surgery. I don't know if you remember that, Joe. I had a shoulder surgery and I was out of work for a little bit, so I was sitting at home and Stranger Things had just come out, and I binge watched all 8 episodes or whatever in in a matter of a day and a half or something like that. And I'm like, wow, this is a really good show. As the season's gone on, now they're up to what, season 4 now, Joe?
Yeah.
So I'm not 100% sure I really loved the second season, but the third season I liked.
Yeah.
I thought the third season was a little better.
Yeah, and the fourth season, actually, they think it actually might be really, really good because they're going to really take their time, I think, on the fourth season.
I sure hope so.
And they're trying to recapture what the first season had with the horror type vibe. They even said that the new villain's going to be like Freddy Krueger, so him. So it's going to be like a horror type show, Yeah, they're trying to recapture that.
Wow, I'm not so sure. I'm not the biggest horror genre person, so that might freak me out a little bit. I know, Joe, you seem to like it. Joe's all in. You got to see this guy. If we had video, you'd see the humongous smile on Joe's face. Joe, I think, is going to be in front of the TV the moment it all comes out, right? Now, when does it come out? Is it come out this weekend?
Friday.
Wow, and you're going away this weekend. Do you have Netflix on your phone?
Yes, actually.
Yeah. Are you gonna wait to watch it on a big screen, or are you gonna watch it on your phone, or are you gonna hook it up
actually.
All right. Well, Joe's so excited he's gonna go Netflix on his phone and watch it. I do recommend if you haven't seen it, to go back and watch season 1, 2, and 3 before, and hold off and don't watch season 4. And if people are talking about it on the internet, don't read the articles because they're no spoiler, and try to enjoy it. But it's a really good show. It's a really good series. I really thought the writing, especially in the first season, Joe, was fantastic. It made you connect with the people. Right?
That's true, yeah.
And I think that's why you liked it so much.
Yeah, that's true. It made you connect. It made you kind of suspenseful at certain times. Certain times the monsters, the government agents. It makes you kind of feel for them, makes you root for them, makes you kind of, scared of what's happening next, suspenseful. It kind of makes you feel.
And you can connect with each. Now, see, I can connect right now because the show is. But the first season, I remember being able to connect with not only the parent who had the son missing, right? Because I'm a parent, and God forbid my son was missing, how I would feel, but also the kids, because the kids were, again, my age at that time, so I remember being that kid, and I loved the kid with the curly hair. That kid cracks me up. With the kid with
Dustin.
Dustin. There you go. Joe knows all the names. I'm like, the kid with the curly hair. He's my favorite character in the show. Yeah. I think he's hilarious.
He was a really good one.
He's funny. He's a little, like, nerdy. I guess they're all nerdy, right? They're all nerdy kids.
But yeah, Dustin was probably like the most nerdy, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I think and his smile just cracks me up, especially in the early seasons. So I'm really looking forward to it too, and it's one of those shows that really, it's enjoyable, and I'm loving the fact that my son loves the show, and a lot of kids his age love the show, because it's giving Joe an idea of what it was like for me to grow up.
That's true,
right?
Yeah.
In that era.
That's true, and a lot of other kids as well, like teens. A lot of them like talk about it and stuff, and yeah, it's kind of gets people, kind of can bring people from today back to that time, I guess you could say.
Yeah. So, what, Joe? Who's your favorite character in it?
I actually tied between Eleven and Hopper, the girl with like the shaved hair, and Hopper, the police officer.
Yeah. See, and Hopper allegedly disappeared at the end of the last season, right?
Yeah.
We weren't sure if he was gone or not, and they kind of made a clue that he may be alive, and I'm pretty sure he is, right?
Yeah,
for this season?
Yeah, they actually filmed it in Vilnius, his scenes.
In where?
Vilnius,
Where's that?
Lithuania.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they filmed it in a former Soviet prison, so...
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm really looking forward to it. Listen, so we went from a Would You Rather to a Stranger Things preview, I guess, if you want to call it. So, listen, thank you so much for listening to this segment, and we'll see you on the next one.
Okay. See you on the next... Hey, welcome to my segment, and... Well, we're actually going to talk about a few things, about foods that I wish would come back, and also foods that are going to be on menus. So what I wanted to talk about this week, because I feel like there are a lot of foods, especially particularly in like fast food places, and a lot of them, they are enjoyed by many people, and a lot of the times they get discontinued, and I kind of miss them. So, you know what? I want to talk about it. Let's go. The first food that I want to talk about I kind of miss, is the Wendy's chicken fingers. These were actually introduced a few years ago, and what they basically was basically a new form of chicken that Wendy's had. They had chicken strips for a limited time. And they discontinued them, I remember, and they were really good. Their chicken fingers had a different, formula than their chicken nuggets. The chicken nuggets are what they have now, but their chicken fingers were, better, I feel like. I'd argue that they were way better than their, chicken nuggets. In fact, when, my grandma actually went to get the chicken fingers, and they're like, we don't have them anymore. And I also discovered that with Dad. I was like, I want the chicken fingers, and they were really good. They were amazing, and the fact that I can't get them anymore is kind of sad. I don't know why I'm obsessed with food, but man, I am. And also, I really liked them. I thought that, I was surprised actually that they didn't stick around, because I thought that they would do really well, but they actually replaced them with chicken sandwich varieties, which, I like chicken sandwiches, but I really want those chicken fingers back. But anyway, is enough about that. Another thing that I wanted back, chicken related as well, KFC's popcorn chicken. Now, it's still, oddly enough, listed on the official national menu, but in reality it's been pulled from many locations, at least where we are. Maybe they have them in other states and still, I don't know, but the popcorn nuggets were, oddly enough, never officially pulled. It was weird, and they're still technically on their menu for what it seems, but for some reason they don't have them around here. I don't know. Maybe like the specific franchise pulled them. Perhaps like some franchisees pulled them, others now don't have them. I don't know. But for whatever reason, the popcorn nuggets, at least where we are gone. And I'm really missing them because they were really good. They had this like sort of, like, how do you describe it? They were very like kind of they were greasy, but they were really good. They were very juicy. They had just the right amount of seasoning. They weren't really crispy, but they weren't supposed to be. They were supposed to be like popcorn chicken. And I can say KFC actually has the best, one of the best nuggets were from KFC, so I was kind of sad to see those go. At least near me. Like I said, I don't know if other areas have them, because it was a bit weird. It wasn't even like, no one even said anything about it. It was just where we were. Like, even with the chicken fingers, people were, like, saying stuff about it, and then Wendy's had to, like, confirm that they were dead. KFC, A, never confirmed that they were dead, and B, no one has said anything about it. So, I don't know if that's just because it's not popular, or because they weren't pulled everywhere. Maybe it's just from the, like, locations around here, and, like, maybe, like, if you went to, like, another state, maybe they have them, or, like, in most states they have them. It's just, like, near here that they're pulled. I have no idea what the situation is, but I do kind of want them back. It's something, I just love them. I think that they were really good and all that. But anyways, one thing, also that I wanted to kind of mention, and this is actually very interesting. Wendy's is adding, or apparently adding, a new, frosty flavor. But they're kind of pulling one of their other ones, at least for a limited time. Because most Wendy's only have, kind of like two flavors. They can only, like, they only have one machine, right? So it can only have two flavors. So, at least for, like, the Frosties, so they're actually pulling the, or at least this is what they're considering doing. They're pulling there've been rumors that they're pulling the vanilla Frosty, and they're going to replace it with a strawberry one. So, for those of you who like strawberry, like ice cream, this is going to probably be good news. Those of you who like vanilla, maybe not so much. But, Wendy's is, they're basically pulling the vanilla Frosty for a limited time and replacing it with a strawberry variety. But apparently the vanilla one's going to come back in early September, which is probably when the strawberry one's going to go. So it's going to be like a summer flavor, strawberry Frosty. So that's something that's pretty interesting. It's apparently going to be like a vanilla Frosty, but with like strawberry syrup. And they're going to like kind of make it with like the vanilla Frosty flavor. They're still going to have the chocolate Frosty. So it's going to be strawberry and chocolate instead of vanilla and chocolate for the summer. They said it's going to be released in June, so I am very interested in how that kind of plays out, like if it's kind of successful, if it's not, if people like it, if it's good. I am pretty curious about that, because they haven't really, like, expanded the flavors of Frosty. Like, they've done, like, sundaes before, like you saw with, like, the cookie sundae they had, like, sundaes in the past, but they've never really had, like, they haven't had a new Frosty flavor, actually, since the vanilla one came out, and I think, like, the 70s or 80s, so this is actually, like, the first time in, like, 40 or something years that Wendy's has had a new Frosty flavor, I think, so, hold on, let me actually, sorry for this, but I don't know, when did the vanilla Frosty come out? I think it came out 40 years ago, but, I want to, like, confirm that I'm right, because I don't want to, like, present wrong facts. Oh, it actually came out, it actually launched, in 2006. Wow, that's actually way later than I thought. I thought it came out in the 80s. I don't know where I read that, man. I don't know, I'm probably imagining stuff, but, I think it, vanilla, I think came out in 2006 or something, but, that's actually, I did not know that. I thought it came out way earlier than that, because, like, it's kind of like, how do you say that, like, it's been around for so long. I feel like it was around for longer. But anyways, that's the end of our podcast, and the end of my segment at least. And we'll see you in the next one. Okay. Hey, welcome to our IRL, and now
we are in the Jeep Cherokee studio, right,
yep,
Joe?
We are in our little studio.
We're enjoying this glorious day, and we're going out right now, and this is a great time to do our IRL segment. And Joe wanted to talk about some of the things at Memorial Day. Is one of the things that almost everyone does Memorial Day is what, Joe?
It's going to barbecues.
Barbecuing, right?
Yeah.
So Joe wanted, what's your favorite? If someone said, Joe, you're going to a barbecue, all right, and there's a bunch of things on that barbecue. What are you looking for to grab first?
Well, first of all, obviously, mainly like Well, first of all, obviously you gotta have a snack first, so that's like Doritos, you're Doritos, but also after that, probably...
Now, there's a ton of different Doritos out nowadays. What's your favorite?
Ranch.
What's your favorite?
Cool Ranch.
You're still a Cool Rancher, huh?
Yep.
All right. I still go with the regular yellow nacho. That's my favorite.
Yeah,
orange, whatever.
I feel like they're good, but they're not as good as
Joe's a Cool Ranch kid. You gotta brush your teeth or get a pack of gum. Joe's in the dating age right now, man. You gotta have good breath. Cool Ranch, they're yummy, but wow, do they give you weird breath.
That's true. But after that,
sorry, go ahead, Joe.
I probably would
Part
have,
2 of his barbecue.
Well, I probably would have like a hot dog or something. Like if I had to like choose a barbecue food, I'd probably choose a hot dog.
Mm-hmm. All right. So now hot dog.
If we're having fries, I'd also have that.
Of course. Now, what kind of hot dogs? There's tons of different hot dogs.
True.
Which ones do you like best?
Well, actually, the real truth, the ones I actually, oddly enough, like best, like the pigs in a blanket. Those like the Hillshire Farm ones. But if we're doing like a barbecue hot dog, I have to say Nathan's. Like Nathan's, I feel like is the only real good hot dog. Mm-hmm. I feel like Ballpark just tastes funky to me. I don't really love Ballpark.
Ballpark
ones,
tastes a little like cheap a little bit, but I like Sabrettes. Do you ever have the Sabret ones? Or the
I don't know.
Those National?
Those are okay, but they're not as good as Nathan's.
So the thing about the hot dog, I know it's kind of junk foody, but it is so good. And every once in a while, I don't eat them all the time, but I do eat them every so often, and I really, really like hot dogs at a barbecue. I'm more of a burger person. I know Joe's not really a burger person, but me personally, I do love a burger on the barbecue. That is my all-time favorite. Same thing. The chips in the beginning. Did you eat potato salads and macaroni salads, Joe? I know you don't take me as someone.
Really, nah. No, I've never eaten those.
Yeah, we've had... Now, if you want to hear Joe's aversions to food, I don't know, there was some other episodes we talked about Joe's food aversions and things that... Joe's gotten a lot more expansive in his diet, but in the very beginning, he would just eat basically Doritos all day long, right, Joe? But you definitely came a long way.
Yeah.
Or chips. But Joe's diet's expanded, but... Well, I also understand you're not really going to get Joe eating burgers too often or like things like potato salad or macaroni salad and things like that. But, Joe, you know what also I just thought of? I was thinking about it the other day. We went about, 2.5 weeks between episodes this time. Do you know what episode this is?
I actually don't. I think it's like 26.
25.
25.
This is our 25th episode, Joe. Oh. So what are you thinking about this journey that we've been on? Have you been enjoying it? Like, what do you think since we've started?
Enjoying it. I feel like I've just kind of been just going along. I'm trying to make as many changes as I can because I feel like I want to push my podcast away from the amateur podcast to a more developed one. Mm-hmm. I'm really trying to develop the podcast kind of going in a certain way. I actually want to kind of integrate all the segments into one at one point. So, we'll still be talking about, different topics, but they won't be, they won't have, that space in between. Mm-hmm. Maybe even answering Facebook comments in between segments and stuff like that.
That's a really good idea,
Joe. The other podcasts do. I kind of want to, reform it in a way, but I don't think we're quite ready for it, but I do believe that we will be very pretty soon, so watch out for those things. And I do want to also add royalty-free music to the podcast, so between segments we'll transition and have some sound bites and
bumper
stuff.
Music.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking about that as well.
I think that's a great idea, Joe. And you know what I've been enjoying, Joe?
Mm-hmm.
and I told him off the air, but now that we're on the air, and tell the audience, I love Joe's solo segments. I think you've been very informative. You shocked me with, not shocked me, I shouldn't say shocked, because you are a brilliant kid, but your segment on 1984 in the last episode, I think it was the last episode, was so good. I had to listen to it twice. It was that good. Thanks. You broke down a book and talked about its relevancy even in today's world and how amazingly relevant a book was. And I have to admit, it's sad to say, I've never read the book. I think I was probably supposed to in school, but I never read it. I probably ignored it and I don't know. I didn't read it. And everyone's like, oh, you didn't read 1984? That was like mandatory reading in school. I never read it. So after you described that book, and that's episode 24, if anyone wants to hear it, go back on Apple Podcasts and listen to it. And I think it's like the second or third segment, right, Joe? It was such a great. And so me, as someone who's on this podcast, Joe doesn't tell me, and I'm not listening in on his solo segment. So that's a surprise to me. So I go in as a listener that doesn't know what's happening. So I just sit back and listen, and I really, really enjoy your solo segments, Joe. So I really hope you keep them up. And
I will be.
Please do.
I will be adding more in the future. I'll be doing that. What I also want to do is have like solo segments, but like have eventually more like you kind of like, you know, having like kind of like that there's no like in between each. So like instead of like having that, it's like one continuous shot, and you like kind of like stop talking and I talk about something, and or like maybe I go into like another area or something, because I do want to eventually make like continuous podcasts at one point in time. I don't think I'm kind of quite ready for that yet, but I do want to move towards that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Growing the show, making it more developed.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. And you know what? We always encourage anyone out there to leave a comment or give us some feedback, right? Especially on Apple.
Yeah.
Like, we haven't had a review in a while, a new review, but you know, we're looking to hit some milestones as far as downloads, as far as listenings, and as far as subscribers. So if you're on Apple, in the top right-hand corner, when you go to our podcast, you hit the little follow button, and when you follow it, it pops up on your phone every time a new episode comes out, right, Joe?
Yeah.
And same thing with Spotify or iHeartRadio. So we're on multiple platforms. Joe's amazing. He puts us on multiple platforms, so you can really find us anywhere. And he's going to continue to send and put up Facebook posts. And if you go to Thinking is Infinite, right, Joe, on Facebook, you can find us there too.
Exactly, and we'll be posting there every time there's a new episode. I also might be posting more often on there. I'm thinking of doing that at one point, like just posting like stuff.
Well, the summer's coming up, and school will be over, so I think you really should.
Yeah.
And you should know what I think is a good idea, Joe, is I think you should actually post some interesting things that you're interested in and ask the audience, do you think this is good for a topic? I'm thinking about talking about this. What do you think?
That's true, yeah.
And get the conversation going.
Yeah, that's something that I actually have been pondering for quite some time. I'm actually going to do that, and I'll probably leave like Facebook posts, probably like, I don't know, maybe every other day or something. Just leaving like, hey, you know, suggest you can suggest topics on the Facebook page that you want to be discussed. I'll look at them and I'll review them. I'll see if it's something I'd like to talk about or if it's something that I can talk about, and well, both of those two things, and we'll kind of see from there. And that's the end of our podcast.
Yes,
thank you guys
so
for
much.
listening, and we'll see you next time.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.